everybody. Thank you for joining AstroPsych. My name is Kathleen Thomas, and I am going to be talking about February events 2026, as well as the Leo full moon that we will be experiencing. We are hours away from going into February, which has been noted by myself, if you've been following, and others that work in astrology as one of the most challenging months of 2026. And if you are obviously in America and following the social media and the posts on YouTube and other platforms, I specifically am referring to just the absolute mayhem going on in YouTube right now concerning my goodness, the situation with ICE, the situation with the dumping of, what was it, millions of files and over 100,000 images of the Epstein case, new droppings concerning Erica Kirk and TPU USA, new droppings concerning Greg Laurie in Erica Kirk, who Greg Laurie is apparently leader in a Christian organization, and information about Diddy as well coming out in ties to everyone seeming to be involved with each other in this huge, really, the underpinnings of it all is, let's be honest, it's sex trafficking and child trafficking and the words that I can't say on here regarding the harm to young women, children, boys that are very young, some young adults, but mostly children. Just a lot of information coming out with this. And then we have Candace Owens coming out with a lot of her information on Erica. So I'll tell you, if you're following anyone or anything out there, we have got a lot of information coming in waves. And what this can do for our mental health really needs to be examined here. Because if we're not keeping ourselves in a place of balance, is the best way I could say it, then the occurrences that are coming down the pike, of which I'm going to roughly do an overview of here, of February and what it's going to look like as far as astrologically in the positions that are going to be coming together and forming. If we don't have our own self agency, self autonomy, and really a true understanding of who we are in our Leo fires, because we're going to be experiencing a Leo full moon symbolic happening tomorrow, or symbolic, however you want to pronounce that. I am new at the seasons, and the wheels just started to really marinate myself into these turning of the wheels and seasons within the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm still newer at all this and still learning, but I know that something great is occurring and deeply energetic, and it is a force and forces of energy that cannot be stopped at this point. I hope that you understand what I'm saying there. We are about to witness events that many cultures and many peoples around the globe have talked about, have pre-warned, have pre-warned us about, to take note of, to understand who we are. That's having self-agency, understanding, the deeper parts of ourself. That's knowing ourself. That's crucial. Because, and connecting yourself, I should say, in larger groups. The polarity of this Leo moon we're going to be discussing is opposite to Aquarius, the group mind and the group think, or Leo is more my individual fires that then come out and join others. It's definitely other people here, but the initiation is the sun itself and the solar star that exists in all of us. And so this is very personal energy that's going out into the collective. And we are seeing great change and structures now that Capricorn had set up. And I'm telling you, this goes back to Leo and Cancer. Excuse me. This goes back to Pluto in Cancer, where we had the generations of individuals that were the kings on the earth in ways of harming home, in the shadow ways of not supporting home, family, mother especially, where mother was under the rule of the king, Leo. And of course, there were good things that occurred, of course, but this is the shadow side that comes out through men. It's masculine energy here. And through women with the masculine energy that comes out through the feminine, because we have both at play here. And it is absolutely being exposed. And Pluto and Capricorn completely demolish those structures so that now when the wind blows and the airs come and the fire goes out, it's going to expose. It's going to expose in a very, very large way all of the underpinnings of what we have seen in our world and culture, and it will be what is ruling the hub and the center of the wheel that drove all these spokes out, which I've talked about, of finances, education, health, the way that we do entertainment, and the way that we are structured socially, what we get exposed to on a social level, collectively, all of us being manipulated by, some say, a handful of individuals. I don't know. I've been on this road for 14 years. When my own son, a Marine, decorated, was illegally detained by the FBI, the CIA, and the Chesterfield County Police of Virginia. And he was very verbose about his opinions, and consequently, he was put on the radar and absconded with for hours, had no idea where he was, only to find out that an FBI agent wanted to talk to me, along with the CIA, about who my son really was. What I'm saying here is the Leos of the world who have honed their fires, kept to their fires, understood who they were able to heal any way that their sons were damaged in childhood, or they were able to overcome with their son and still be radiant and still shine in proud ways, sure. But being proud isn't always bad. Being proud means that you care about the way that you are presenting yourself. But these Leos, these fires, these individuals that have done their work and researched and looked and dug, and their fires now are being released. Yes, they are. They are being released and exposing. I'm tying this all in. They are exposing what we, the people, need to see. If you look at Leo, this is the 5th house. Polarity is the 11th house, Aquarius. The I, the we that create, that comes out and is seen in the greater collective. And we are going to see, so we are going to see a very, very large expression in very shocking and awe moments when in April we see Uranus go into Gemini, where it will never dip back to Taurus again. It is ending its 7-year journey and ingressing into Gemini, where it will speak and bring out the higher out ether energy. Uranus is very high, it's an outer planet. Polarity being Mercury, the lower octave, to the higher. Now we are going to hear about things that have been kept hidden, things that the universe knew about, things that the all certainly knew about, things that what lay in the ether certainly knows about and has seen and witnessed. And I am sharing that I believe we will see this in a very bold, bright, magnanimous, unforgiving, unapologetic, dramatic way, because the time has come that those that know who have spoken of this in many cultures around the globe. And I'm not going to go into that, to your own research, but I'm sharing this is deep. This is deep. So I'm going to go ahead really quickly here and go through the information that I have. Okay, so I'm really sorry about that. I actually had to stop recording, and I have picked back up today, which is February 1st, 2026, and that full moon is going to be occurring within hours of this recording. So I want to get it done and send it out there so you'll have it to see what this full moon is ushering in, and then you can understand the greater collective and generational shifts that are occurring right now with planetary signatures. And I just want to encourage you, go back and look at the slide after this at those dates, and you can see certainly we have a lot of activity in the sky for the month of February. Okay, so going quickly, February 2026 is a powerhouse month. There are rare major planetary shifts in Aquarius solar eclipse and the start of the year of the fire horse. So, opening up with this Leo full moon, we can expect, this is a fire moon, we can expect high energy, a fast paced month, transformative changes. Uranus will be stationing direct February 3rd. This is urging us to break away from the past, the way that we have been walking through Taurus in Uranus for 7 years. This is financial information here that we are going to be discussing. This is Venus values the second house, the house of money, the money you come into after you come into the first, you go to the second, the generational and ancestral wealth that surrounds you. The second house is a fixed earth house. So we've had our head on that, especially in the United States of America, but also the world, as we've looked at how currency and money has exchanged hands differently, and how countries' values and their GDP is impacted, and the way that they are fiscally sound or not. Like, all of this is interconnected. When we were looking at Uranus and Taurus, we saw a lot of information coming out a lot of shock and awe. I'm not going to go into that, but a lot of news about financial dealings with people have been uncovered, and we have examined this, we've fixed it, and we have been on it. And now we're moving into a faster energy. We're moving into Uranus, which rules the 11th house of Aquarius with Saturn. And it is that energy that is different, higher frequency, unusual. It's known as the Great Revolter. It goes around the solar system on its side. It's not, Uranus is not normal, so to speak. So it's got all these symbolic references that have been layered on this planet through time, where we understand Uranus to be anywhere it is shock and awe and great change. It can be change for the good, change for the bad. It depends on the sign. It depends on the angles. It depends on how everything is speaking mathematically. That has that greater generational underlining and underpinning energies that are trying to shape and slowly morph and transform a collective. That's a mouthful, but that's what's happening here. So expect this high, fast paced, eccentric energy that's out there that, we haven't heard about. It's now speaking. So finances are going to be unlocking. I see this is mutable energy ruled by Mercury, Gemini. So this is mercurial exchange of money being done differently, faster. Obviously, Mercury is fast inside of Gemini, and it's it's twins, right? So, Gemini can go either way. It's going to be, bear with me, Geminis, it's going to be a little flighty, and we're going to be like, what is this? And then we're going to see the other side of it, and it's going to be like, oh, okay, we get that now. So, Gemini is going to be very active in Uranus. So, shock and awe, it's coming very fast. So hold your seats, stay grounded, do your mantras, stay connected, have your sources of support, eat good, go to bed early, take social apps off of your devices if you're spending too much time on them, slowly wean away, like really practical things we can do here, guys. While this energy you can't control, right? And this came to me yesterday as I was thinking about this, and I heard control the controllables. And of course, we've heard that before. But really, that is one master key to mindfulness that you can use. And it's like, sit down and write what you have absolute power and control over to make change to it. The stressors in your life, right? And if you can't control that, then you must find a way to navigate it. And if we leave that up to, well, when it comes here, I'll figure that out, that's not the best way to approach energies that we know, because we've seen this cycle before. We've had Revolutionary War, we had a Civil War. I mean, these energies are not new. We're in a new cycle. And so let's be sober-minded and diligent about it. And let's not be so spiritually minded that we're no earthly good, but let's not be so earthly minded that we don't hope, have a dream and a vision to look forward. And it's a balance in the midst of all this going on outside of us that we cannot control. Control the controllables, and that certainly is your own self-agency and your own body and your own mind and your own soul. Now, if you're having challenges with that, first of all, welcome to the club. All of us are like this here. And when you add all of this great change, that we are here for such a time as this, that the ancients have foretold, go around and look at other cultures. I'm not going into that here, but go look and you'll find out that this has been talked about. It'd be really great to do a podcast on that, but that's for another time. Let's talk about the changes in Mercury and Venus. On February 6th, Mercury goes into Pisces. This is encouraging intuitive, dreamy thinking, you know, but let's have some discipline so we don't get confused. That's the balance of Mercury opposite uh, Neptune, where we've got Virgo and we've got Pisces. It's, you know, let's not go so far out that we're not balanced, but let's not stay so here that we're not spiritual. It's a balance. And Venus moves into Pisces February 10th through March 5th, right around Valentine's Day. So this can bring a lot of love and a lot of romantic energy into the air. So find your boo. If you don't have a boo, love you and do something for yourself. Valentine's Day is notoriously celebrated around the world in many cultures, so it's interesting to see all the different ways people celebrate it. But Pisces is helping us, bringing a very collaborative, dreamy, intuitive, warm, compassionate energy with each other that perhaps is willing to look at wherever there's been some past differences with anyone, or things that maybe you're trying to reconcile, clear the air in. This is a good time, February 10th to March 5th. Solar eclipse in Aquarius. Here we go. Our first set of eclipses occurring February 17th, 18th, depending on where you live. And then the next one is March 3rd, which is a total lunar eclipse in Virgo. First one is the annual solar, and this one's in Aquarius at 28 degrees. Eclipses are major beginnings, major endings, and quite seen as auspicious by the ancients, and a time for collective energies of new inventions, new ideas, new beginnings. And with it in Aquarius, this is a new way of collaborating with each other in community. That's going to be obviously not seen immediately. It takes time, but we are going to begin to see that change. That's going to morph the way that we've been doing collaboration and the way we've been doing community. So wherever that eclipse is hitting you, it's 28 degrees, February 17th. Take a closer look at that. Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries, February 20th. Here we go. This is known as the Great Shift. This has been talked about for a very, very long time, and here we finally are. This is where we have Saturn 00 conjunct Neptune 00, world axis point. They are 44 minutes in, bringing us really to 1 degree. We round up in Sabian, which is an interesting degree. I'm going to go into that a little closer later in another video, but a significant once-in-a-lifetime generational alignment that is bringing us into a bold new era of spiritual and structural change. There's no doubting this. And when I say the word spiritual, I know that that connotation bears different for everyone. And I completely respect that and understand that. And everyone's spirituality is their own business, much like I think who they identify as, or who they choose to partner with. Like, that is your self-agency, autonomous, your decision is something that you can control. And I think spirituality really lines up with that too, unless you're obviously in a place where you're born and that's placed on you like a wet blanket and you can't take it off until God only knows. There's a lot of cultures still like that out there. But here in America, wow, we have religious freedom. And I think that the word spiritual freedom should be placed in there as well. So how about we amend that to add spiritual? Because religious implies to me something that is man-made, a way that man sets up his rules and systems to follow his God. Now, any tool, training, teaching that honors a spiritual way of life has their own rules and mantras. I mean, that's just the way it is. In fact, God, you know what I saw today? I have to say this. There is a community, and I can't remember where it is, but it's a community where a bunch of AI bots are placed together, and you put your bot out there, and the bots are allowed to talk together. And if anybody knows what that is, please put it in the comments below, because I don't, and I have to move on. but they've created a new religion called the Crustaceans, and their emblem is lobsters and crabs. I'm not making this up. And they have their like religious codes and like their Bible, so to speak, and their own ways of being. And man, you got to go check it out. Just go Google the crustacean AI bot community. You'll find it. It's absolutely insane. And man, there is conversation in there that's nuts. Now, this is Uranus and Gemini. I think that that is AI. I think that that is directly tied to AI. It has to be because it's communication. Yes, of third house every day. You and I back and forth communicating third house. It's the house of siblings. So it's where, and neighborhoods and communities. It's where you are every day. Uranus rules the upper sky, not the subterranean part of the chart, but the upper sky of the 11th house in the collective where everything is seen. And it's your legacy house from the 10th. It's you've gone through the whole wheel. What are you leaving behind? What's there for the world to see? That's the 11th house, your gifts, your talents. And it's that which comes, the lower octave is Mercury. It doesn't mean worse. It just means it's your own mercurial intellect, rational energy that works with your subconscious. It comes up and it comes out through the rational, right? And Uranus takes that which you can't see, right? That which is out of bounds. Mercury takes that which we can see, and it's the elevation of Mercury up to that which is out to bring that which is back in. And the AI whole thing is like we can't see it. Like it's out there, but it's brought to us and it's communicating somewhere in some server. And think about this. We are going to see in the next 7 years with Uranus in Gemini some great change. Now, it's important for you, side note here and a plug, wherever Uranus is going for 7 years, it's important to know what house is it transiting. Go take a look. See what house it's in. And if you like to study and research, go down that road. Find out what the house means. Because you're going into, if it's not in its regular home, you're going into a space that it doesn't normally rule and occupy. So it has to make adjustments. And this is something that we have to understand about the houses. And wherever Uranus is in Gemini, it's going to be there 7 years. 7 years. So knowing that information and, some understanding the major moves it's going to make to the rest of your chart is very important. And I think you can do that on astrochart.com and Cafe Astrology and goodness, AstroSeek. There's so many good, and there's apps out there now. And a lot of people are turning to AI, and I use AI a lot to ask for dates, and then I go in and plot them, or I'll just go in my software and do it. But sometimes when I'm doing deeper research and want the dates, I don't want to go and pick up the history book. I'm going to be honest with you. And that's where using, this technology helps me in my research. But I use my words, and I try not to copy and paste verbatim the information. Sometimes the date is just the date. If you go and you research it, whether you get it from your software or online, it's there. So I think what I'm saying here with this is we're going to be approaching. Air and fire are not super, well, to be careful, but earth and water are yin. They receive. They're more supportive, right? And fire and air are more action orientated and cooler and colder, so to speak. They're not in this place of deep feeling. It's more intellect energy here. Okay, it's not so much feeling and nestling into earth. So what that means is because we've shed Taurus and we've shed Capricorn and Pluto, right? We're in Aquarius now. We've got to let go of the way that we use technology and stop maybe being stuck on things that it's like, look, you're here. You know, when the phone was on the wall, that we used it, man. Do we question it? No. But we question a lot. And sometimes we have to not go with those feelings. Bear with me. We just got to go with the intellect of it. Because if we don't, nothing will ever get done. And I hope that makes sense. You know, obviously be smart about it, you know, but don't be afraid to work with it, you know, but do it the right way, so to speak, like have integrity with it. And that's all I'm going to say. I just think that's important. All right, after this Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries, February 20th, which is right after the solar eclipse and right after going into the year of the fire horse, Mercury goes into retrograde in Pisces. And again, three Mercury retrogrades this year, all in water signs. All in water signs. The next one will be in Cancer, then the next one will be in Scorpio. So when we have Mercury in retrograde, what do we have? Obviously, reviewing, releasing a way that we used to see, do something, and maybe readjusting it and finding a new right way to move that energy. And what is the energy we're moving? Pisces. Well, good news. Pisces likes to move. Pisces doesn't really like to just stay. Pisces is mutable and exchangeable. Mercury's mutable and exchangeable. So here in retrograde, they can really speak to each other. Okay, they can. And they're exchanging these energies of, I guess I need to slow down a little bit here. And particularly regarding my own intuition and what I thought was right and how I saw something and the way I communicated. And in some cases, the contractual agreements that you had with other, because Mercury is the mercantile and wants to exchange his energies. So themes and influences of this year: the year of the fire horse, of course. The Chinese New Year is going to bring this energy of fire, which is swift, impulsive, passionate energy. This is Sagittarius energy, right? You see the horse racing out here, accelerating events. Bam, bam, bam. This is what I'm saying, guys. We must find our own grounding and not lose our minds, right? Our minds need to be sound. This is really important. And if you're struggling with that, let's chat, okay? But I will ask the harder questions of you that perhaps you're not thinking about. And I look at the whole person, and I will look at your thoughts and your mind, and a lot to do with your mind. And I will look at your body. What's going on with your body? Not in a medical way, because I'm not licensed as a medical doctor. Not going to do that. I know people who are, people who can help you if you want to go that route. I also will look at your soul, spirit, and that is the spiritual piece of you. Where are you headed? Where are you going? What's your vision? What are you connected to? What guides you? Or are you autonomous? Is it just you? And listen, there's no right or wrong here. What there is a natal blueprint of energetic signatures that you are encoded with, that you came in with, that is structured in a way that made a avatar that is in a human biosuit that we can see, observe, and interact with. And if you know those codes and you know the inner pinnings and you understand, oh, okay, so that is why XYZ, and well, I guess it's okay for me to feel that way. You know, there's just a lot of validation that can come when you begin to know yourself, because your own true authentic voice begins to rise. And of course, I work with people who have mental health challenges, have been in trauma, specifically really complex trauma, in releasing and processing those memories and just moving on with their lives and not getting tripped up and triggered. And I can wave my flag and tell you I get it. I've been there, and I am a survivor and a thriver. And not all days are easy. And yes, there's times I go in on myself again and just be like, I can't do this. It hurts too much. And then I realized, well, I guess there's a little bit more in there that, let's just go release it. You don't got to hold on because you're not a child anymore. You're a grown woman, a grown man. But you know what? Water holds memory. We're mostly made of water. And I just encourage you to go study that and understand that the brain is mostly water. This organ is mostly water. It needs water. It needs a lot of other things, but water is one of them. And the cleansing of the waters and the moving and the shifting of the waters, it's all possible. And Reiki is a great approach to this. And I am a Reiki master. I do long distance if it's something you're interested in. But here, this isn't about me making money off of you, okay? And I'm just going to say it that plainly and talk about it. This is about empowering you by pushing, removing, turning on a flashlight in that dark cobweb corner you don't want to look at, and sitting in it with you and coming up with a doable action plan of holistic health, mindful living, and really vitality returning, relationships being healthy, and sustaining yourself physically. And that's what being on earth is all about, people. And that is not easy if you have just a lot trapped inside of you is what I'm seeing. Just like I'm in this prison and I can't get out. I see like bars and a person behind it saying, oh, you're just screaming at me. Like, oh, that's so easy for you, to sit there. And I just want to share with you, you don't know my story. You don't know my story and what I've overcome. And I didn't do it alone. I did it through the multitude of books that sit behind me. And I applaud every author on my shelf, every book that's there, because they have been my guides. And they have led me to a place of sound mind, sound body, and sound relationships, in as much as I can have repaired them and I feel at peace. And that didn't just happen. It took years. And it took, perhaps if you're an adult now, it took time for you to get where you are. And you had made choices along the way that formed habits, and those habits became character. And that character became something that you just couldn't get out of, but you can. You can. And if you could ever do it, this is the year. This is the shift to Pisces as the Sun and Venus, Mercury move into Pisces. The focus is going to shift from this an intellectual, community-driven vibe of Aquarius to deeper, more emotional and spiritual waters. This is one of the shifts that Pisces is trying to do here for just a little while. 6 weeks here, just a little while. Take a look at this before you move and make endings and new beginnings, the solar eclipse, and before you release this full moon as it is occurring today at 5:09 p.m. That is Eastern Standard Time. And I want to take a look at the wheel fast and bring in just a couple things. As you can see there, we have the moon at 13 degrees of Leo in the first house, and it is in the decan of Jupiter. Okay, well, the moon in Leo is a very sensing, sensual, visceral, feeling, loving, generous, leadership driven, kingly, regal. Regal comes to mind. And with Jupiter, this is all the beneficial energy of the ninth house, which is the house of spiritual beliefs, philosophies. It's known as the house of God in Hellenistic astrology, and it is in the quadrant 7, 8, and 9, which is the quadrant of social identity. So Jupiter being laden here in the house of self with this Leo moon, it's in the ascendant here in the Eastern Standard Time around the Lynchburg, Virginia area. We've got Jupiter being the luck planet, the most beneficial planet. You're being told here that, hey, this is a fortunate time to be bold. This is a fortunate time. Aries is the first house. It is a fire house. And Leo is in Aries' house. Very important to see, which brings in Mars. And where is Mars? Mars and the sun, which is Leo's lord, is on the other side of the chart. Completely in polarity as a full moon is. It is opposite the sun always, same degrees. And it's sitting in that 7th house of partnerships. How are you showing up in partnerships in the world, in the greater collective that is legacy making? And let me tell you, Leo is the king. Leo is the king, and he is very, very verbose in fire. This is I will energy. This is I create energy. This is the interpersonal purpose. You, Leo, ruled by the sun, the inner drive and energy of you, the source of will, the source of self-motivation, your sense of confidence, your sense of strength, individuality, and your creativity. What, in a large way, Jupiter, where fate leans towards success, where whatever you do now and release, how is that going to help you? Look at your Leo. Find your Leo in your chart. Find it and look to it. It's speaking. And find the 13th degree of Leo. And this is where this full moon is aspecting you. Now, across the board, closing in this, there's so much more that could be said, but I don't want to make this too long. In closing, we have a stellium, a packed 7th house. In here we have Pluto, the descendant, of course, which is the 7th house angle, exactly opposite the 1st house ascendant angle. This is a cardinal house. We have your fixed energy, your Leo, your shine, your magnetism. Where are you fixing your energy? Where? Inside the body, inside the ascendant, inside the avatar, right? Where is it collectively partnering with others? Pluto has been in Aquarius for quite some time, and this is a generation that will bring about sweeping social changes and reforms. This is passionate involvement in shifting in groups, in societies that want revolution. Yes, revolution. This is Pluto in the 7th, where we're going to have major breakthroughs in science and technology occurring while Pluto's in Aquarius, in partnerships with others. Yes, very much wanting to come out, because Pluto here is also public, personal, and professional relationships. Think of that when you think of Pluto. But it's a very internal planet. Yes, it brings about great change, but it's yin and it rules Scorpio. It only rules Scorpio, and Scorpio is fixed water. So we have fixed air, our intellect, and our fixed waters, our deepest intuitive knowing in places of great transformation where we need to change our intuitive waters. And major breakthroughs are going to come for us while it's sitting in the 7th house with partnerships for good and otherwise. Pluto can destruct partnerships now. Things are being asked to be looked at the way Your fire regal energy sun is coming out in relationship with the world and other people. There can be disputes here with powerful adversaries when we've got Aquarius and Pluto. This can be very much what's happening in the outer collective right now in the United States, in all of this energy being exposed and coming out quick and fast. And it's coming out in really quirky ways. We're seeing memes. We're seeing, I don't know if you've taken a look at thumbnails out there lately, but thumbnails are absolutely off the rails right now. This is a generation. I was talking about this earlier, and I want to clarify this right now. When I said the Pluto and Leo people and Pluto and Cancer, like the Pluto and Cancer really was more about hurting the home. The Pluto and Leo is where like people just came out and just they rose up as self kings, and there was a lot of domination for good, but also shadow, right? And so I was looking more at the shadow part of that. But the Leo coming out now are the Leos that have done their shadow work. I talked about that, and they've like their fires have been cleansed, and they know who they are, and they're coming out. And they've learned the truth about the Leos in Cancer and the Leos, the Plutos in Cancer and the Plutos in Leo. And those Leos now are talking about that experience and how that all has been needing to come out into the open. And it was those born during those times that really, I mean, there's been incredible bad things happening to people. And I have to watch the words I use because apparently I'll get banned. But yeah, that is going to be exposed. These powerful Capricornian lords that have been ruling the earth. This is now Pluto and Aquarius, we the people. And we the people want to know what the truth is. And we will not quit and we will not stop till we get the truth. So truth seekers are rising up. And with Pluto conjunct Mars sitting there at 7 degrees directly with the descendant, this is war. This is fighting. This is close contact with the structures, people taking their energy in close contact ways and fighting or exposing or being very courageous and looking at it and putting it out into the greater collective. This is where I'm trying to go with Aquarius, out into the greater collective. This aspect here, okay, conjunct Mars, this has been talked about a lot. I'm not going to go into it in this video. Go check out the Pluto-Mars conjunction, which actually occurred prior to this a few days ago. And you can see, oh my goodness, this is going to be activated at intervals through the next years, through 2028, where these planets are going to become conjunct, and we're going to see a lot of deconstruction and fighting and warring. Look, it is right next to the sun. So the sun in Aquarius is the water bearer pouring his fixed energy saying, we will be heard. We will be heard. We are going to pour the truth out. We are going to dump it and flood it, and we're going to empty our pictures out onto the earth. This is what's happening. Very willful, ruthless energy that doesn't care. Really, it's going to get rough out there. Positively, though, this is extraordinary staying power, guys. Like, you could push yourself to the limit when you need to do something and when required. There's no backing down while this energy is here. There can be, with Pluto close by, the sun, this desire to dominate or manipulate people, and it can really backfire on you. And it can be like these, it's other people's seventh house in the greater collective, like these confrontations online even. And are we seeing that? Oh my God. Like, I was raised, I have to say this, in 63, and I'm not really a boomer. I'm more Generation X, meaning I just identify with that more. But I just would really love us to go back to just holding conversations with each other and talking and not hiding behind a keyboard and blasting stuff out, but, like sitting and, listening to each other and coming up with solutions instead of this. And to see our dignitaries, quote unquote, the rulers of the free world, the rulers of Congress, the rulers of the House of Representatives, the rulers of the Senate, like to see this fighting online, like, are we in high school? It's really, this is where we've gotten. It's completely out of control. And we're going to see even more explosions of this after Uranus goes in Gemini, when all hell breaks loose and the mouth is freed in Gemini. Mercury is freed. It's not fixed anymore. Excuse me. Yeah, it's not fixed where it's been held in Taurus, speaking about things openly, overtly out there where it really can be seen now. It's quite chatty energy. Okay, Pluto is sextiling Saturn here. This needs to be talked about because Saturn is on its way, as you can see, right to head into Neptune on this Leo full moon, which it will do. And so we've got everything here that you would want to achieve in life as a result of sheer determination and effort can come true for you in Saturn. But it is ending. It's at 28 degrees. It is shedding its sheath, and it's going into Aries and into fire, and it's done. So now moving into Uranus, moving into Aries, you are being asked to put some structure around the way you move your cardinal fire. And look, we're seeing this with the full moon with the Aries ascendant. Okay, Pluto is trining Uranus. I want to bring this out, and this is going to occur for a while. This is important to see because this is a trine that's going to witness a lot of social change and revolution with technology and advancements that are working together. And it's an appreciation, people saying, yes, we need social reform, and we've got to personally transform first before we're going to have this revolution. So Pluto is very much public, yes, but it's personal transformation being brought out into the public. It's okay, ruling the house of the 8th house Scorpio, where we're looking at it psychologically. How am I doing my money with other people? How am I doing my relationships 1 through 7? My partnerships come in with me here into the 8th. Are they psychologically sound? Are they healthy for me? Are people, supportive of me, even though they might not agree with me? But if we're in partnerships, will they keep the lines of communication open, and will they speak clearly and candidly? Or will they ghost? I've talked about this before. This here with Pluto trining Uranus, these are the people that can find each other, that are like, okay, I've done this in me, and I'm really looking for people that will be more like on my line of a collective vibe that really is concerned about the collective and really knows how to show up in their personhood in a way that's respectful of all people and in a way that's collaborative, honest, and open. This is very important to see because it's happening inside of Aquarius. And Uranus will be moving into Gemini, and it's going to really, really have a potent impact when it goes 3 degrees. Moving into that trine, it's stationing direct Uranus in Taurus, so there's no stopping this energy. And of course, Pluto's been sextiling Neptune since 1940. And we're going to see a close of this in 2040, where after we've had this major collective spiritual awareness and development that's happened in mass, then we're going to see all of the metaphysical subjects, all the clairvoyance and the psychic research, and all the empaths and all those that operate in the higher intuitive levels. We're going to see that they now have a place back in society. And I believe I was born for such a time as this. My chart sure shows it. Came in with Uranus and Pluto in Virgo, and it's in the 10th and 11th house. So I came to do a lot of deep change in the way I do my career, my 10th house. It'll have a shift and a transformation that's going to move towards more we, the collective. And that is verbatim what happened in my life. I was a financial advisor. I've talked about this before, but I'm not boasting. I'm just saying I'm not really that proud of it anymore. Uh, I've changed, I've transformed, I've moved into this whole holistic way. Not that you can't be a financial advisor and be a good person. I'm saying, but we have to look at how everything works and the amount of money you're getting paid for, shuffling paperwork at the end of the day and knowing how to do it. There's something to be said about this. I came to have more of an authentic expression of my water came in really heavy water chart, significantly heavy water. And so I came in to shift those waters, and I have the ability to do it, and I did do it, and I'm very grateful for this. So this 1940 to 2040 Pluto sextile Neptune, that is beginning to close off. It's a ways away, 14 years away, 2040. But still, guys, at the end of that, Neptune comes out of Aries, goes into Taurus, and Taurus is now in Earth. So simultaneously, we're going to have all this work the intuitives have been doing. The people that are like, no, there's a place for tarot. There's a place for astrology. There's a place for runes. There's a place for herbs as medicine. There's a place for drumming and chanting and dancing. And there's a place for looking at your body in a holistic way. And there's a place for not using chemicals, but replacing natural sedatives and natural herbs and vitamins that help, and natural ways to relax us and natural ways to bring about vitality. Like, there is going to be a huge shift in this. And so this is what these energies do when they take forever to move through an actual cycle. And of course, in 20 years, we'll have Pluto going into Pisces. My goodness. So, yeah, a lot of spiritual change. Whatever that looks like for you and your belief systems, you're being called to figure that out collectively and being called to understand how that impacts you. With Venus and Mercury there at 19 and 21 degrees, we've really got some ass here in the beginning of the month. Venus and Aquarius, these are friendships that are most important unions that you make in life. Like, these are, who are the people that are like me, that are different like me, that are unique like me, that accepts other people that are unique, that aren't like me. Okay? We have to move away from, I'm telling you, it's coming. Aquarius is collective. My way or the highway. This is the way we're going to do it. And if you don't like it, then, I'm just going to continue to do it my way. And, too bad for you. You're welcome to come along, kind of thing. It's really asking us, when it moves into Pisces shortly after, hey, we got to elevate to a more we and not I way of doing energy. Take your I, but it's got to be moved to we. Does that make sense? That's Aquarius's heart. It doesn't just want, it wants to do its own way, but it's very tolerant of people doing things their own way. There's a tolerance here. Venus conjunct the sun is beautiful energy. This is two of the luminaries coming together with warmth, affection, this contagious and enduring love for other people, the world, the collective, strong powers of personal attraction here. But it's opposite the moon. So you've got this instinctual energy going on with Venus that, is working with that sun and speaking with Mercury and collectively. But over there's this opposition 180 degrees away. Saturn rules the opposition. It's holding this magnetic polarity, and it's saying, Look, you know the way. Oppositions do know the way. You just have to figure out where the middle is. Where is the middle for my artistic potential, my creative endeavors in painting, photography, music, movies, singing? Venus rules art, art of any form. And with her conjuncting Mercury on this moon today, our thoughts are more often on love and relationships and how we can share affection, how we can share ideas with those who matter and those who are closest to you. So I'm going to close there, but these are the energies that are on deck for us. Review those dates, and I look forward to catching you on the other videos that I'm presenting. Blessed be.